Yes, welcome back. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world on this very sunny day today in South London. Very sunny indeed. Welcome, Lubo. Happy Saturday to you. Has it
Absolutely.
started well?
It has done, yeah. Well, it's blue skies in North London as well.
Good.
So
Blue
we're
skies
happy.
everywhere. And there's blue skies. I've got got TNT on for the Man City Palace game. The blue skies are out in Manchester, so something good must be happening across the UK today. Lubo will be joined by other people as we go on, but there's actually quite a lot to talk about today. In the last week, we've got a new CEO. Ooh, new CEO coming in. We've got Wolves tomorrow. We've played Frankfurt. Ange has been blaming the footballing gods for looking elsewhere other than Tottenham. And he's also been talking about a mole. There's a mole in the ranks. There's a mole leaking hamstring news. So we'll get into all of this. I've taken a few snippets that have been sent to me over the last 24 hours or so about the new CEO, about the mole, about some people are losing their mind, Lubo. He's from Arsenal. He's from Arsenal. So we're going to get into it. Before we do, I just want a guy has messaged me on YouTube. Now, when I get messages on YouTube, I get one of two things. I get some very nice messages going, thanks for the content, Savva. You know, hope you're well, disagree, but blah, blah, blah. And then I get people like this go, you're wrong. You're always wrong, Savva. And some guy came in and he said, you're wrong, but not for the reasons you think you're wrong, because I made a sarcastic video saying I was wrong about beating Frankfurt. I asked him, pray tell, what am I wrong about? So we're going to have a look at his response to me, because I thought this was bloody hilarious. And this guy has absolutely cracked the reason why Spurs aren't very good. It's like this. I will read it out. Don't worry about your eyes. Then, all right, here we go again. You are wrong that Ange is the problem at Spurs. Levy, I tend to agree with. 14th means nothing. It's not first. That's all that matters. I love that. I love that, Lubo. If you're not winning the league, fuck it. Just finish 14th. You speak of tactics and inverted fullbacks, yet those are the same tactics that have put the hurt on some very poor top-tier teams. Brilliant. So let's just forget all the goals we concede because of these tactics. Because we've beaten, Villa and Man City, the tactics work. You tend to blame everything on Ange and dismiss anyone that has a different opinion about it, or at least listen and be open to change. Cool. I'd be happy to have a chat about it and maybe convince you the major problems at Spurs stem from the fan base. This is what I like. Because when I was reading this, Lubo, I thought he was going to say that the major problems stem from the owners. That I could agree with. He said the major problems stem from the fan base, especially in the social media world. So basically, every football fan who is on social media, we are the problem. Yeah. We are the problem at Tottenham, Lubo. Nothing to do with Ange Postecoglou. He said, I know this will also be dismissed and laughed at. You are absolutely right. This will very much be laughed at because it's ridiculous. He said, some of the fan base have gone from, we support you ever more. And he said that happened when we got relegated. I'm sure you know that, right? I mean, like I'm an idiot who doesn't know we got relegated, to thinking we somehow manage this club instead of being the 12th man on the pitch. I love this. This is the Hotspur hippie rule of football. I'm going to come to it in a minute, right? Somehow manage this club instead of being the 12th man on the pitch. Lifting up our players, encouraging them to run that bit harder, put in that extra effort, make the extra tackle. Perfect example was the biggest game of the season yesterday where our fans, I heard Frankfurt's just fine, and we had the ascendancy. Anyway, again, I know this won't be taken seriously and dismissed altogether, so I'm really wasting my time, that goes on to say. Lubo, I love this notion, right, that we are at fault. Fans, me, you, the Stells, basically anybody who's on YouTube, anyone who's on X, on Instagram, I don't know, Reddit, Facebook, whatever all of these things are called. We're the problem for calling out how shit the manager is, rather than the manager that's overseen 36 defeats in 18 months. This school of how to be a fan is getting a bit weird, isn't it? That if you just say nice things, the team are going to be better and not be as wide open on the pitch. What do you make of all that?
The only parts that he wrote in that, apart from being first, you've got to aim for to be winning it always, which unfortunately with our owners we're not in that position to do.
Agreed.
I do think that the fans on match day are not noisy enough. I really don't. I think we were talking about this on one of the groups, and the fans the day we beat Arsenal 3-0. I thought the fan base were just the fans in the ground were fantastic that night. And also the second game after we moved into the new ground, which was Man City at home in the quarterfinals of the Champions League, the atmosphere that night was fantastic. And those two occasions are miles clear of any other home game that I've been to. I'm just disappointed. I think what they've done, a lot of the fans who were together at the Old Lane have been split up. You've also got a corporate area for the 1882 club. Yep. That's right bang in the middle of the South Stand. I mean, what was the point of doing that? Seriously, I mean, that is ridiculous. So that's diluted it a bit as well. In terms of, I mean, listen, I was listening. This fan's the same, but slightly different in terms of his explanation. I was listening to Talk Sport, and they had someone on yesterday morning talking about the game, and he was like, "Ange's doing a great job, and they've got to stick with him. He's getting backed, and Levy in. So it was a Levy in Ange. And I'm sitting there driving down an all circular, thinking to myself, Jesus,
Levy and Ange.
Levy in Ange. This first guy that came on, he was talking to Alex Cook, Sam Matterface, and Troy Deeney, and it reminded me. These comments you just put up remind me of him. They just don't see it. They just don't see the picture. Listen, he's a Spurs fan. He cares enough to send you a long message like that.
I know.
The guy's passionate. But come on, let's start looking at it seriously. These tactics that beat City because we were forced to counter-attack. We played a lower block against Villa at home. And the only way and what makes me slightly optimistic about next Thursday is that we're going to be pushed back and we'll have to counter-attack in Frankfurt. But we haven't lost 36 games because of the fans. Let's start getting real about it. So, there you go.
Yeah, listen. I think it's really funny that fans are being. What I love about this is, I always come back to this point, Lubo. If we were looking down the road and Arteta was doing right now what Ange is doing, we would all be laughing our heads off and saying, God, they are awful. Wouldn't we? We would. We would be doing it about Chelsea. We are doing it about Man United. But, I see Spurs fans go online and go, oh, God, Man U are shit. Sorry? Aren't Man U 1 point above us and in the same European competition at the same stage as us? If they're shit, why aren't we shit? And I've heard it all season. We've heard it all. Injuries. We've heard this, that, the other. He's not backed. He's this, he's that. Mate, these comments, I brought it on because I thought it was funny. It makes me laugh that we can never blame the manager. But what I'd love to know is, have these people ever blamed the manager? And the reason why I actually turned around and said this is the Hotspur hippie way of thinking, it's this notion that, you're all shit fans, you're all twats, you're all dickheads. Why? Because we don't like watching shit football? Because we don't like the bad manager? Why does that make you a bad fan? Just get behind the team. Sure, during the 90 minutes of the game, if Absolutely. You're at the stadium, get behind the game. But sorry, everyone's got a right to say, I don't like this or I love it. Under Pochettino, under Mario Redknapp, people were sitting online going, God, this is brilliant. This is great. So if we're allowed to say it's great, we're allowed to say it's shit. But listen, I don't want to labour that point. I just thought it was pretty funny how somebody comes on and tells me it's nothing to do with the inverted fullbacks, nothing to do with the manager, nothing to do with the tactics. It's all to do with our online fan base. I just find we've reached the lowest of the lows of excuses now.
I think when Ange goes, and the way he's talking in these press conferences, it sounds like he realises he's dead man walking.
Yeah.
I think a lot will come out from the players. I think we'll hear an awful lot that will leak out via the mole. But it'll be out. It'll be out. The players don't believe in it. They go along with it. It's their profession. They're being paid very, very handsomely, and they get out and they play the system that they want. But this isn't working, plainly.
So let's get into it. The first subject. I mean, listen. I think this will be the easier subject. We'll get this out of the way. A leak. There's a leak at Tottenham Hotspur. We need to call in James Flower for his plumbing skills. Big up to James Flower and his love of Hong-Min's son. So Ange Postecoglou hits out at leak inside Tottenham after Wilson Odobert injury becomes public knowledge. Blah, 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 blah. He said, we've got a leak inside the club. I've got a fair idea where it's coming from. You'd like to think that everyone is working with us rather than against us. 2 questions, Lubo. Is this just a mountain out of a molehill? And second of all, what are they actually leaking that somebody's got a tight hamstring? It's not like they're leaking that we're about to sign a footballer or something. What do you make of it?
If he's being left out and he's got a tight hamstring, then why not say that normally in a press conference, he will say, this one's 2 weeks away, this one's out long term, we're missing 3 or 4, whatever we're missing, 9 or 10. Just tell the truth. Tell the truth. And then people won't leak out stuff. Why hide it? Don't turn around and say there's no other injuries. We're okay from the weekend. There obviously is. Does it matter? If you tell people that, do you think Frankfurt have sort of geared all their tactics around Odobert? I mean, come on, let's be serious.
Yeah, I do find it funny. It's like, if you're going to leak information, a player having a hamstring injury at Tottenham isn't really breaking news, is it? It's kind of like, let's be fair. I would understand if this was Gareth Bale, right? If this was prime Gareth Bale at Spurs, and this is your number one guy that opposition would be working on, how do we close down Gareth Bale? Because close down Bale, you close down Spurs. Could say the same about the likes of Harry Kane, right? I'd get it. But this is a bloke that's been a real bit part this year, partly because of injuries, partly because of his age, partly because of lots of sub-appearances. Did you even look at that and go, oh, leak? I didn't really care. I just went, hamstring injury. Yeah, sounds about right.
Are we going to have MI5 down at the training ground in the morning and Lily Whitehouse Monday afternoon? That's the question.
MI5 at Tottenham, right? Shining lights into people's eyes. Yeah. Was it you? What did you do? Who did you tell? It does make me laugh. Talking about moles inside the camp. Here he is, Mr. Box Office. Alex, were you out raving last night looking for your wife to be?
Not really. I was at gym this morning, benching, getting bigger, getting smarter, and getting more more prettier by the minute every single time. But moving on from that, to segue to Tottenham, which never gets any prettier at all, just gets worse. I thought Savva frozen there. It's I really wanted to come and talk about this new CEO of Tottenham Hotspur.
We're going to get to it, Alex. We will get to it. Sorry,
I didn't realise.
No, you're all right. You're all right. We will get to it. I was actually just putting on my bet for the weekend. And this will piss a few people off. I have put them lot down the road in it because, I mean, it feels like it's going to be a win against Brentford, right? Sorry, everybody. If anyone wants to know what it is, I've gone for Man City, Leeds, Brighton, Villa, Stockport and Arsenal. Just letting you know. But I reckon Man City could be the one that lets me down early doors.
Could be Arsenal that let you down. They may have their minds on other things.
Yeah, they could do. Yeah,
This game, do I want to go in for that 50-50 or 40-60? Do I want to leave a leg in there? Am I going to be ruled out for Wednesday or Tuesday, whenever it is? Don't know.
Yeah.
Brentford and no mugs.
Yeah. Listen, yeah. How Spursy would it be for the other 5 to all win and Arsenal lose 3-0 over Brentford? I know I'm going to get people going, I could never bet on them. I'll tell you what, every now and then when I need a team to bolster my acca, I look and go, well, yeah, they win most games. I'm having them. I don't care. By the way, right. So listen, the mole, let's move on. Look, I don't think it's a big deal. Somebody's leaked that somebody's got a hamstring injury. Shock, horror, Spurs with injuries. Who would have thought it, eh? Let's move on then. Look, Alex wants to talk about the CEO. Let's just recap for some people. Big up Phil Coys. How you doing, my friend? Maybe today might be the day you get a football opinion right, Phil. Let's hope today is that day. It's never happened yet, but here you are. Hope you're well. You have got the news that broke yesterday while we were live. Vinay Venkatesham, I believe is how I say the name, who was at Arsenal for 14 years, of which 4 years were as CEO between 2020 and 2024. He oversaw their record revenues from like 350 million to like 617 million or something, which is a record in this country. Lots of the Arsenal fans are going, oh, you don't want him, he's shit. Lots of Spurs fans are going, oh, but 7 years ago he was caught up in a scam with a BYD. Guys, where are we at with this? First of all, before we talk about what influence he's going to have working with Levy, I want to leave that for the minute. A, do you give a monkeys that this man has come from Arsenal? Like, do you care? And B, are we starting to worry about the wrong things as football fans? Are we starting to worry more about the suits than we are what's going on the football pitch?
Firstly, I don't care if he comes from Arsenal. It's the same thing with Sol Campbell, same thing with other things as well. We just need to get over it. The fact that this is why we're not successful, so we have to move on. Secondly, this is where I think Daniel Levy needs to look at this really and starts to say about stability at the moment, because the amount of people that come through the door who are CEOs, director of football, all these things, and he wants to do this model of what Europe do, right? With a CEO or whatever, director of football, whatever, and then coaches, that they just bring in, and one after the other, and it doesn't matter because the consistency is the CEO or director of football, whatever it is. And this is where I think we're just going completely wrong, because I think there's more questions with this one than answers at the moment. We don't know. We've got no answer really to what we're gonna find out at the moment. All we can say is we have to watch this space, because it came straight out right out the blue, to be honest with you, and it's quite ironic it comes right out the blue, because Tottenham not really that positive. There's not really anybody talking about Tottenham. So let's put some things in the news to make us relevant. It's quite simple, because we did it with Danzo in the transfer window. We did this with Werner in the transfer window. We do this all the time. I've seen this pattern keeps on happening every single time, and it's just like, you look back at his past. He looks more business. Is he going to affect the whole thing with what's happening to Scott Munn? Because he's got the same title as Scott Munn. So what's going to happen with Scott Munn? What's going to happen with Johan Lang? Right? Is it going to have any effect on Postecoglou at the moment? You just don't know what to say. And all you can say is the upheaval from there. It doesn't give you any confidence. And I'm sorry I'm going down this route, but unfortunately, I'm going to be talking the truth. And I'm sorry, until I see it, I'm not going to change my mind. It doesn't give you any confidence about what coaches are going to come in next season if we sack Ange. You know what I mean? Because you don't know.
But let me ask you though. A point you just made there was about this looks more business. Surely the CEO of any company is business, right? Surely, as much as we want to talk football, surely that CEO's job, and we'll get into it later as to what Levy's going to allow this guy to do. That's his job, to implement the people that run the sports side of the club, right? Right. Surely you want your CEO as a good businessman, don't you?
Yeah, the point I'm making is we don't know where this is. Again, it goes back to what I say. We have to watch this space, because at the moment there's been so much upheaval from from the top, and this is where because I see things like with other clubs, at Brighton, Fulham, um, teams like that, Brentford. You know who's in charge. You know exactly who's in charge. You know what the process is, and they just keep to that thing. With Tottenham at the moment, this seems like, well, this ain't working at the moment, so
Yeah, but we
we
know
got to
who's
make
in
some change.
charge. That's two
Yeah,
different things. We know who's in charge,
yeah,
don't we? It's not. There's no. I mean, Lubo, let me bring you in. Surely, right? Whether we like it or not, we know Daniel Levy's in charge. Whether we like him is a completely different question. But we know how the hierarchy works at Tottenham, don't we?
Well, yeah, exactly. One man makes all the decisions, and everyone says, "Okay, Gaffer, all right, Gaffer." That's it. That's it. He doesn't listen to anybody. He just carries on without any experience in this game, or he hasn't learnt what he should have learnt in 25 years, because he keeps making mistakes. What's interesting here, Alex? His Scott Munn's title is actually CFO, which is Chief of Football Operations. So we know this guy's coming in above him. For me, it's Levy hasn't been able to get the investment that he needs. We're down to host some matches in the Euro 2028. I think I was told part of the contract is having the hotel in place. At the moment, they don't have the money for the hotel, so he hasn't been able to get any investment for the last year through Rothschild's Bank, who have been looking for him. So this guy's come in with contacts to bring in the investment. So for me, it's in terms of what Levy wants, that's it's a good move. Does it help the football team? No. The business model doesn't change. It's all about profit. It's all about money. So for me, it's a business decision, nothing to do with football. What's going to happen with the football team? Personally, I think Ange will go. I think the way he talks in his press conferences, this siege mentality. In the past, managers have said us, including the fans, against the world. Not with Ange. It's me and the players against the fans. So he's not looking to build bridges or mend fences with the fans. I think Ange knows he's going.
But even if he wins the Europa League, you still think that he's off?
I think he'll go. I think
Really?
he will go. I honestly think he'll go. I think there must be pressure by sponsors. They're looking at the league form. If you're a sponsor putting money into the club, a successful brand, there's nothing that Ange has done that makes you confident about next season if he carries on.
Of course. But can I ask then, like, in terms of this guy coming in, normally a CEO of any company is the guy that makes the decisions, right? Now, obviously at Spurs, there's a little bit of a kink in the armor called Daniel Levy, who will sit above the CEO, right? Daniel Levy calls the shots. Now, I want to come to that in a minute, but there's a lot of people that seem really hung up on this scam that he was involved in 7 years ago when he was the managing director of Arsenal, not the CEO of Arsenal. In his time, I'm just going to play devil's advocate here, right? I'm not going to sit here, guys, and pretend, oh my God, I know this Vinay Ventukeshan bloke inside out. Because to be honest, why would I? Right? Why would anyone really know any of, like, we know about Levy because he's ours, right? Unfortunately, he's ours, right? But this guy, if I look from the outside in, if he's been the CEO of Arsenal from 2020 to 2024, isn't that the 4 years in which they've had a real big rise in revenue, caliber of players coming in, riding up the table? Is it all bad what he's done at Arsenal? Like, why is he hated? Why so many people against this?
I don't know. Are people against him? Why would people be against? Listen, if he's good at his job, then we want people at Spurs who are good at their job. End of. Good staff are always good staff. Good people are always hard to come by. Always, And you saw. I think he brought Arteta in. He brought Edu in. Arsenal haven't done too badly the last few years. While we've been going one way, they've been going the other. So, my concern here for him is, will Levy let him do his job? or will he like be all over it like he has been for 24 years with everything?
This is my
So
concern, though, Ian. This is my concern, Ian. Because the thing is, though, that's why I'm saying we have to watch the space and see where this goes. You know what I mean? Because
yeah,
the thing is, though, the interesting thing is with this guy, right? He obviously has got something about him, but like I again, you can just see it. Either they fall out and then end up not coming, because look at what happened with Prodigy. Look what happened with Prodigy, and they got on. They actually got on. You know what I mean? I just and the Prodigy's not come back because he's just said, I think
no,
this.
no,
I think,
no, no. Parachi with Milan, I think, has fallen through. I was reading.
but
Yeah, it
yeah, but
has.
he still
Well,
hasn't come back. He still hasn't come back though, hasn't he?
hang
But
on, Alex. Well,
he was at Spurs on
hang,
Thursday.
hang on, guys. This, you know me. I've got a picture for everything. This was Thursday night.
Yeah, there you go.
This was Thursday night, and if I'm not wrong, there's a couple of Spurs legends I can see at the end there. If I'm not
Chivers and
wrong, I can
Roberts.
see Chivers, Roberts. Is that David Howes on the end?
Could be.
Could be, couldn't it? And then Paratici, who thinks he's in COVID times with a 2-seat gap. So Paratici was there. Just quickly before we go on this, guys, just a few things. So you've got Henry Winter, chief sports writer, has said this: when Spurs fans get over the Arsenal connection, they will appreciate what a terrific appointment Vinay is. I know him well. He genuinely cares about fans' issues and acts on them. He cares about the unity of a club, and Spurs need that. He's super bright, but has no ego. We then saw this courtesy of the Spurs Express, has said that he will take responsibility over all operations on this. Now, bear this in mind for 1 minute's time, guys. He will take responsibility over all operations on off the pitch. He turned down other major jobs and will be regarded by many as a coup. And then you've got the other angle to this, that is, people are saying it's going to really impact on Scott Munn. But this report is saying, well, Scott Munn has worked behind the scenes with a limited public profile, but he has made a number of significant changes at Spurs, including overhauling the medical and sports science department. So a lot of information there. You've got Paratici at the game. You've got, what does this mean for Scott Munn? You've got Henry Winter saying, this is a good guy. The fans will like him if they can get over their Arsenal issue. And then you've got David Ornstein telling us, hey, this guy's going to run it on and off. Does anyone believe that this guy is going to be told by Levy, you know what? This is you now. This is you.
This is where we have to say we have to watch his space, though, Savva, because the thing is, though, you only can see over a few years or a few or 3 years or something like that, and see how this works out. At the moment, I'm skeptical still because of the experience that we've had before. So for me, I don't see anything. Yeah, journalists can say whatever they bloody well want. They can say whatever they bloody well want, right? But there's still question marks in my mind, right? Because he ain't going to have that much impact in the summer, other than or if he does have any impact, he's talking to his people now. Because that's what a major CEO is doing right now. Yeah, I mean, if you're starting a job and you know that it's crucial for the next season, especially how bad this season's been, right? You're not coming in straight away and saying, well, I need to sit in my seat and just settle in for a couple of weeks. You need to be on the ball way before when you come in to make an impact. You know what I mean? So, you know,
Alex, could it be a case of, look, you've got Paratici, who we know we wanted him back. Then he's gone to Milan and it's fallen through. Now, the following week is seen at White Hart Lane. I'm sorry, that's too much of a coincidence for me.
Yeah.
In the same 48 hours, we announce a new CEO. Could it be that Daniel Levy is bringing in CEO Paratici, and this means the end for Ange?
Yeah.
And Munn.
Yeah.
And because do you know what? Let's give Levy a tiny bit of credit. This will piss Lubo off. Let's give Daniel Levy a tiny bit of credit. Maybe he's seen what we've all seen and gone, shit, I have made a massive cock up with Munn, who has made a massive cock up with Ange, right? So maybe he's gone, right, if those two are going out, right, and he's bringing in the CEO right, who clearly knows football. We talk about businessmen. He's been at Arsenal for 14 years. They're the third biggest club in the country and one of the biggest clubs in Europe. Whatever we want to banter them, if their name weren't Arsenal and he was coming from Man City, we'd be like, okay, this seems okay. If he gets rid of them, maybe he's realised and gets rid of them and implements the CEO working alongside Paratici so they both start at the same time. Guys, I'm just spitballing here. I have no evidence of this. I just think it all looks a little bit odd, Lubo. Paratici's there, the new CEO. Ange is starting to say he's starting to talk in press conferences the way Conte did when you knew it was at the end. Is there anything in this, Lubo? Could he be getting rid of both?
Well, listen, if you're looking at it and you're putting two and two together, the chances are you're going to get 4 here. Because Paratici's still there. You know, if Paratici was going to Milan, he wouldn't be sitting in the ground, would he? That's for sure.
Right.
So
it's weird.
Yeah. Maybe, just maybe, with the change for Tottenham demonstrations as well, it's sort of maybe it's jolted Levy out of his coma. And maybe for him, he's realised it's the bigger picture. It's not just Ange. And hopefully, just hopefully, I mean, I honestly can't see it. Person of 62 that's worked a certain way for 25 years, it's very unlikely, that he's going to change. But if he has, and he's realised he's made some real ricks here, and he's trying to put it right, then full marks to him if he's doing that. But I think
Prodigy's got a lot of influence on him, though. Prodigy's got a lot of influence on him. He's told him a lot of things, home truths, from what I've heard. Listen, if he comes back, it'd be good because I think we need some leadership. I think one thing I would say about Prodigy, even though I don't think he was cooking too much, but one thing I will give it to him, he did have an idea about winning and actually putting things in place, and he made people know that he's there. You know what I mean? He wasn't shy about saying stuff that people didn't want to hear. You know what I mean? So you know what I mean. So for me, for me at the moment, right? Again, it comes down to stability as well for me. If you're gonna do this, right, you're gonna have to stick with it. I think I do think we're a bit unlucky with Prodigy in that sense as well, to be honest, because I think if he didn't have those charges, and he would have still been at Tottenham, and we wouldn't have Scottman in there. You know what I mean? And we certainly would not have Ange. We certainly would not have Ange if because he knows that Daniel even wanted to keep him. He wanted to keep him, obviously.
I think what Henry Winter said about being fan friendly, I think that's a load of crap. Because I put bluntly, Arsenal brought in the reduction on for discounts for senior citizens before Spurs did. And Levy probably copied what Arsenal did.
Yeah.
You don't know until you see what happens with him, right? It is a very big coincidence, this whole thing, but they just have to start. They just have to start having some stability at the club up there. You know what I mean? Not Daniel Levy. We know Daniel Levy's. I'm not talking about that under him. You know what I mean? They just need to just have a stability there. For me, I don't care how many coaches we have right now. If we're going to do this European model that Europe do in Italy, Spain, and all these, coaches, just come in and that's it. You've got to have somebody that is stable, ultimate at the top with, that undersees all these things. You know what I mean?
Providing he's allowed to do his job, Alex. That's the thing.
Maybe Lubo, I mean, there could be a little bit of merit to what when the Spurs go marching in, saying that Levy getting a bit older, maybe wants a little bit of. Listen, we all get to that age in life, right? Don't we? Where you want to step back a little bit. I mean, I don't think I've got there yet, but like when you want to step back a bit, maybe you've been successful. A couple of my friends, a little bit older, have got successful businesses, but now they've taken more of a step back. They're more still raking in the money, but got more of a consultative approach to it. Could it be that, or could it be that, like you say, Lubo, at 62, a leopard hasn't changed its spots? But what I do know What I do know, by the way, what I do know is that the likes on this show are absolutely abysmal. There's 400 of you in here, just under, and 87 likes. So if we could smash that, please. We've got a super sticker here from Anthony Clark. Big up to you, Anthony. Really, really appreciate that. Thank you very much. You're always very generous to me, my man. Yes, Petro, we can get a wage comparison between Spurs and Arsenal. I did that for you in the background. I can tell you that Spurs payroll each year is roughly 112 million, give or take £40,000. And Arsenal's payroll is 170 million, give or take a couple of 100,000. So you're looking at a difference there of what 50%, we're looking at, a difference of
50%. 50% more Arsenal.
Yeah, so they've got a significant wage increase on us. But yeah, guys, look, I'll say it right now. You know my feelings. If this guy is announced and then the next thing he does is sack Ange, I'm all for him. He can have a 10-year contract. I'm fully behind the guy. But that is always going to be the overarching concern, isn't it, guys? Is great. We can implement this. We can have Scott Munn. We can then implement Fabio. We can implement Vinay. You can have Kamoli. You can have. It's how much are the reins going to be loosened? I.e., if Daniel Levy, would you take this right now? I know the end goal is Levy and Enoch out. I know it is, right? But if that's off the table, would you take this? That Daniel Levy says, you know what? I'm going to do everything over here. I'm going to do concerts, boxing, NFL, patisseries from Korea. I'm going to do all of that. I'm going to stick to that. And Vinay is going to come in and he's going to have say on everything. He's going to be able to sack whoever he wants. He's going to be able to hire whoever he wants. And he's going to have the purse strings. Would you take that?
Possibly. Depends on what he is really. How he can, how that will look like. I don't know how that would look like, Savva, at the moment still. From what I've.
Well, no, I'm saying, like, if he's allowed, if Vinay is allowed to listen, Lubo. I talked about this yesterday on my show with Danny. CEOs run the company. CEOs at most companies, the buck stops, doesn't it? The bucks. Yes, they have a board that they have to report back to,
sure.
But ultimately, the CEO isn't going to anyone to ask, "Can I sack him? Can I hire her?" The CEO goes, "Do it." Right?
But this company's run like no other in football. In football,
well, that's why I say what I say. That's what I'm saying.
That's the problem.
I know, but I'm saying if someone said Vinay's going to run all the football, right? So that it means that every time we sign someone, we can't turn around and say that's a Levy signing.
Yeah, you've got to look at. Yeah, I think there'll be more accountability on other people than Daniel Levy.
If it stops the nonsense of instead of going out and getting a centre forward who is going to get us 10, 12 goals, an established player in January, and we're bringing Tell in purely for financial reasons.
Cool. That's kudos. Cool. Lubo,
he's not keen on me, kudos. I've had a few comments from him before. He's not my biggest fan. That's okay.
Ali Garcia. Yeah, I just looked at the Man City lineup and I kind of regretting putting them in. It's Ederson, Luis Diaz, Vardiol, O'Reilly, Nico and Kovacic, McAtee, Gundogan, De Bruyne and Marmoush. So none of the quick wingers are playing. I don't know. He's mixed it up a bit. And this is why I never, ever, when I played fantasy football, ever put Man City players in my fantasy teams. You never know what he's going to pick. And Palace have gone with everything you would think Palace would go with, but there is no Mark Guehi, by the way. There's no
suspended.
Mark Guehi's suspended. So is Eddie Nketiah. So their back three today is Lacroix, Jeffrey Lerma, who goes in, and Richards, and then Kamada's come into midfield to replace Lerma, who drops into centre half. So, and from a Leeds point of view, let's just see if our Solomon does play from a Tottenham point of view. But yeah, sorry, Lubo, as you were.
Where were we? We were talking. What were we talking? Which part were we talking? I can't remember. We were talking about. No, we did talk about kudos commenting on my age. That's okay.
Oh yeah. How very rude. Big up. Look, guys, it's going to be interesting. Can I ask though? Everyone keeps talking about this BYD scam that he got caught up in 2018. Since that scam, guys, he was actually promoted from managing director to CEO. So if Arsenal didn't give two shits about it then, and let's be fair, he's been the CEO that's seen them go from here to there. Why on earth do we care? Like, do either of you give a shit about that? Like, I just don't care. Just me. Sorry.
Really doesn't matter. Listen, he's not done what Campbell did to us. You know, Campbell's in the academy for 15 and they played for 15, 16 years at the club.
Yeah.
And then deliberately hoodwinked Tottenham into thinking that he was going to sign a contract and did us out of a £15 million transfer fee. I was pissed off as much about that because, you know, if someone helps you and they bring you through, then give something back.
Yeah.
And he didn't. He did that deliberately. He could have gone to United a year earlier for 15 million and didn't. So, you know.
Yeah. I mean, Alex, I feel like we're at the stage where, as football fans, I do feel like we're worrying so much about. Listen, obviously we care who's running our club, but why would anyone here care about a scam that someone got caught up in? Let's be fair, most people at this level, of this power, of this money, there's controversy somewhere, right? There's something somewhere down the line that they've been involved in. And why do people care so much about this, Alex? Or is it just noise for noise sake?
I've not really paid attention to it, to be honest with you. I'm more fussed about where this is, what question I've got. I just want to hear my questions where this is going to go at the moment with him and what happens behind the scenes and stuff for me. What has happened in his past, you know, he hasn't been convicted or anything like that, so it's not really anything to really be concerned about for me at the moment. Really, there's much more better things, much more urgent things to worry about, like our league position and, you know, where we're going to be going next season. You know what I mean? So, you know, so yeah. I think that's where I'm at with that, really. But yeah, you know, I think at the moment it's just really speculating at the moment where we're going at the moment with this. It's just now we have to watch this space and where this is going, really, and, you know, how does this affect certain people at the moment, really, for me. All the other stuff, I just think it's just really just to, you know, make a news something out of more than it needs to be, really, for me.
No, listen, I completely agree. I mean, I think it's Savva's finally lost it. What have I lost? What did I lose? I've lost many things in my life. What have I lost now? Please tell me, what have I lost? I really wish when people put comments in, they'd explain so that I can actually get a grip of what they're talking about. Guys, let's move to footballing matters, shall we? Let's move to footballing matters. Ange has blamed the footballing gods. In the last few weeks, he's come out with some he's come out with some very bizarre comments, guys. You know, if they want to sack me, there's plenty of good people to take this job. He said about VAR. He said about falling out of love with football. And he's now talking about the football gods looking elsewhere. Lubo, what on earth is he talking about? And are we now at the stage where we've been so poor that this is just a different deflection tactic week after week after week?
Well, we've had the pitch, haven't we? We've had the fans, we've had the gods, we've had a mole. His whole demeanour has changed, hasn't it, over the last few months?
Yeah.
In terms of, you know, with press conferences. And as I said before, he must look, this team, with the amount of defeats and where we are hovering and have been for the last 2 or 3 months in the league, it's been dreadful. And, you know, he will know, having had the success he's had elsewhere, he's come up several levels to this league. And if he's honest with himself, he'll know that he hasn't cut it. So, you know, The league table doesn't lie.
Mm.
We are where we are for a reason, and his style of football is just not sustainable. It's the training has caused injuries. Injuries have disrupted the team. So you've got different. I mean, how many different midfield
Just
partnerships
quickly,
have
have
we
one
had
of
this
you got a
season?
fan on in the background? Has someone got a fan or something on in the background?
It's not me because I just
What the
muted
noise? The
myself.
noise here?
I think
I
I've
can I
muted
can just
myself.
hear like it feels like a fan or something. Just
No. Someone is. I don't know. There's a gardener next, or someone's drilling something outside.
oh, how
Yeah, but
selfish are people when
Stop
they
now.
do things to their own
On
garden?
a,
It's
on a
really
Saturday,
selfish.
particularly when you're on, Sav. I just think it's
Exactly.
outrageous. Eh?
Absolutely shocking.
11
I mean,
o'clock football heritage. I mean, how come they
uh,
don't know? Why are they watching?
why
Seriously.
aren't they subscribing and watching? But Lubo, the thing is here, we're starting to they're starting to be ramblings now, aren't they? Like the football gods looking elsewhere. I hate to break it to everybody. The football gods have got nothing to do with things like this. The football gods didn't do this. The football gods have got nothing to do with this. He's starting to sound a bit insane, isn't he?
Well, he's just desperate for a good result, I think. And when you see Bergval's shot and Bergval's shot, Benson Core's header that both hit the woodwork,
Yep.
and his son's shot that the keeper tipped round the post in 4 minutes. You think to yourself, Jesus, it's not running for me, is it? I think he's just
Sure.
desperate for that little bit of luck. I think he's just got. He's eloquent in the way he talks. I think it's just a bit of a bizarre way of actually saying, do you know what? The luck wasn't with us tonight. That's all he had to say, but nothing to do with the gods.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I mean,
we'll do a swap with City for Pep. That would be okay, wouldn't it?
I'm on it. I'm on it. Oh, listen,
Yeah.
I will be Ange's personal agent on this matter.
I drive him
We,
there. I will personally drive him to the Etihad. There you go,
Lubo,
Ange. If you're watching, Ange, because I know you do watch some of these, I will drive you to the Etihad. Just let me know when.
do you know what though, Alex? The funny thing would be about that. We won't go into this, but the funny thing would be we would have a section of this fan base that would say they would rather Ange than Pep. That's where we're at as a fan base now. But Alex, he is coming out with some strange things. Are we hearing the words of a man that knows he's going? Because as Lubo said, all of his press conferences now, he is talking like a man it's almost like it's been announced that he's going and that he's got till the end of the season, the way he's talking, Alex.
I do what I do with certain shows on YouTube. I just don't listen to them. I don't know, Savva. I just can't do it. I can't. I don't know what else to say on him anymore because I've said what I've needed to say on the guy. It's I've said everything I've said already. It's all true, really. You know what I mean? And I think what we've said, we've just been vilified. So there's not really much I can say on the guy, really. For me, it's the only worry for me is, and it's not a question of when he's going to go. It's if he's going to go. It's when. It's just who. Hopefully, we get somebody. Not that it's going to be. I don't care if it's 18 months or 12 months, whatever. Just somebody that is just who is a coach that can just do something better. That doesn't do this every single week. It's just getting ridiculous. And that somebody that learns from his mistakes
Yeah.
because I just get so frustrated that when you've got so much time on the training ground, you're not you're not learning. You're not learning. This is the thing at the moment, and this whole thing of him press conference wise, it's like a meme. Someone said it was like a meme. Whenever he comes up with something, it's like a meme every single time because you go back to it. It's like the whole thing about it's who we are, mate. That's a meme. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
oh well, I don't change. I don't change. I just don't change. That's a meme. The way he talks to reporters, that's a meme.
Can-
You know the way that
Alex,
he uses his voice, it's a meme every single time. It's just like I don't know where. Like for me, it's been honestly. I wish I did this with Conte. I wish I did this with Conte because I've just been so zoned out now because of this, and he's just it's the football and him. It's just why? You know what I mean? It just can't, I can't do it anymore. And if he wins the Europa League, he's just gonna be unbearable. Like, listen, I'll be celebrating, but he will be unbearable. He will be
I,
unbearable.
listen, listen. As you know, we all want to win the trophy, but I just can't put up with another year of this in the Premier League. Even let's be brutally honest, even the run in this Europa League has been really crap. Like, it's been really boring. We're going to come to that in a minute. CB, we need to dispel this myth, because this myth is that every Spurs fan apparently wanted to lose to Man City last year. Now, I don't know. I'll ask the boys for an honest opinion. Did you boys say you wanted to lose to City?
I didn't care because I didn't want us to get Champions League in the first place anyway, because I thought it would be absolute disaster, like right now. You know what I mean? Because we've not got
But
Champions
but
League
but
players. But
But the question is, did you actively say you wanted to lose to City?
I was really conflicted. I must be
I was
honest with you.
conflicted. Yeah.
When Sonny
Sure.
went through, I went up. I wanted to score. It's a natural, response.
Of
Bang,
course it is.
go on,
I
Sonny.
I was more.
And
Yeah.
obviously, I don't want Arsenal to win anything. Um, are we more worried about Arsenal than we are about Spurs? It was a good point that he made. But yes, I suppose in hindsight, you look at it and you just think, what would we have done in the Champions League this season? We'd have been down there
Oh,
with we'd have been down there with Zagreb and the young boys, in the bottom 3 or 4 probably.
I would have said more yes, because I didn't want us to get Champions League in the first place.
Yeah,
Um, and also secretly I still wasn't sure about the manager either. To be honest with you, still. Well, I wasn't sure. I was never sure about the manager in the first place. But I just don't. I just wasn't seeing where we were going with this. Really, to be honest with you, I wasn't impressed with last season. To be honest with you, because you see what's going on with Forest at the moment. That negates everything that we done last season. And now they're in the FA Cup semi-final. We only had one game a week last season, going out all the cups very early on. So for me to answer the question, shamefully, yeah, maybe I wanted to lose because I didn't care about. It's not. It would hurt Arsenal with winning the championship. It would have hurt, but at the same time, it's more about. I don't think would have been progress if we. I don't think we would have progressed in that Champions League if we got Champions League.
agreed. And just for the record, I keep hearing. So, for example, my mate the hippie keeps telling people. I'm calling him out now. Keeps telling people that I stated I wanted to lose to City. I never ever said that. Do you know what came out of my mouth? Was I said it doesn't matter what fans want. City are going to beat us. They were going for a title.
yeah,
Yeah, this isn't Man City now. This is Man City with 2 games to go to win a league title. They weren't going to come to Tottenham and lose the league at Tottenham. So that was what I always said. Big up to whoever this is. Big up to you. I like that picture of Ange as well. I think looks like he's wearing a bowling top. You know, in America they have the bowling leagues. Looks like he's got like a bowling top on. Petro said, "Devil's advocate." Everyone loves a devil's advocate. Ange leaves and dominates that appointment. Dominates that appointment in what aspect? That comes back to play Tottenham and then beats us, right? Wouldn't be the first manager that we've had that's beaten us. Look, I fail to believe. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I fail to believe there's another manager we can bring in that does this badly. I just fail to believe it. And the reason why I say that, guys, is people go, "Oh, but look at Europe." Again, look, this is Europe. This is what everyone's got their knickers in a twist about this year. And if you look at this, guys, I know.
Look at the results against the big teams, the good teams. You know what I mean? And they were good.
This is my point, Alex. Right? I know that someone will say you can only beat who's in front of you. I get it, but look at this run: Karabag, Ferencvaros, and Alkmaar. Right? Hoffenheim and Elfsborg. They're the only teams we've beaten in Europe. Roma, Rangers, Frankfurt, Galatasaray. He's failed to beat any of these teams that have a proper game plan.
One sec.
And the personnel, Alex, to do it. Because, listen, Karabag would have a game plan, right? Ferencvaros would, but they wouldn't have the players to execute that. Whenever he's come up against a half-decent team, he has failed. So this is for me, Alex. This is the thin line of football. Lose on Thursday night, and suddenly we're looking at the Europa League Cup run and going, that was shit. Win it, and you're suddenly going, we're in the semi-finals of Europe. Thin line, isn't it?
Listen, for me at the moment, that wasn't an impressive run. By the way, big up Ben. By the way, big up Ben every single time. But we struggled against some of those teams. Karabag had chances against us. I remember that game. They had loads of chances against us, and it's because they just couldn't score for Toffee. Could not score for Toffee. You know what I mean? And I just think, I think it just sums it up when you see people like Aston Villa. Aston Villa had 2 games a week in the Champions League, and look where they are at the moment in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Now getting beaten by Paris Saint-Germain, who are a better team than them. Obviously.
Well, they're one of the best teams in world football, aren't they?
Exactly. They've got experience as well. They've been able to cope with injuries as well.
Alex,
you know
and they're in the semi-finals of the FA Cup.
Exactly. So this is where I've not been impressed with the run, Savva. I've not been impressed with the run. You heard some of the stuff from some of the people that love to back this manager and back the whole team because they've got to back the team. You know what I mean? We were saying, oh, we're in a great run. We're on a fantastic run because of the Europa League and whatnot. And you're like, well, in the league form, we haven't been great. We haven't won a lot of games. It's just the Europa League has kind of saved us because of the teams that we were playing. You know what I mean? So, it's just I don't think the competition's been helped the fact that Champions League teams are not in it now. To be honest with you, getting into because I think it's made it a little bit more. Regardless, whoever wins it, they deserve to get into Champions League. Okay, because it's offered to you on the table there. But we could have some Champions League teams in there because Man City might not qualify for the Champions League, so they might be in the Europa League. But it's just, for me to answer the question, I've not been impressed whatsoever. They could have used more youngsters. You could have used Archie Gray in midfield. To be fair to it, it has helped Berval. I'm not going over. I'm not wetting my pants about him. Let's get that right. I'm not doing it. And Ian, I love you, Ian. You're my guilty pleasure, Ian. But I ain't doing what you're doing right now with him. Even though he showed me a lot on Thursday that a lot of players weren't doing on Thursday. But it's just, my answer is I'm not happy. I'm not happy. I'm just not happy, Savva. I'm just really not happy with it at the moment.
Hey, the missing posters have worked. Strasbourg Steve been missing ever since the 24-hour charity stream. Big up to you, bro. Hope you're well.
He's been celebrating since Newcastle. He only started celebrating yesterday.
He's been doing a 3-week charity stream of just drinking his bottle of what is he drinks? Is it the Archers? He drinks the
4 weeks. 4 weeks. Is
it Archers? Malibu? 4 weeks, yeah.
Newcastle Brown, I thought. But
yeah, I mean, look, Lubo.
It's been a strange. Sorry, go on.
No, go on. You're right. Go on.
It's been a strange European season.
Yes,
because he started off by making 9 changes, and when you make that many changes, the team play like strangers, and they did under Jose, they did under Conte. Whatever manager makes wholesale changes. For some reason, our players, just don't put it together, and we lose a lot of games. Who was that? Was it Mura? Was it the team that we lost to?
Oh, Mura, yeah.
Oh God! We've lost to some rubbish. So I thought, Dragosin got sent off after 6-7 minutes. So for me to go and beat 10 men, even if it's Karabag, they're still professionals.
Sure.
To go and beat them 3-0, I thought was a half decent result. Ferencvaros, again 9 changes. We went and won there. So to me, the disappointment I thought was the last 15-20 minutes against Roma. I
agree with this, by the way. I agree with this. I do.
Spurs need you, James. There's a leak. There's a leak at the training ground, James. You're needed. You get your van over there and Sort it
Yeah,
out, mate.
sort it out.
Thank you.
Sort it out. Roma was disappointed with the result. Rangers, I thought, was a poor performance. They did a job in Hoffenheim that was fine. And
We did
what
our
was
best.
last one?
We
Elfsborg.
did our
Elfsborg
very
was a
best
kick,
to throw
wasn't it?
that away, though, didn't we, Lubo? Like, we. This
But
is the problem. There hasn't been one European game for me where we've looked, like swept someone aside
sure.
and looked properly like, yeah, we dominated that start to finish.
We're not
That's my
going to.
worry.
We're not going to. The system of play stops that. We're really poor. Listen, it's the performances have been poor. The tactics are poor. The system's dreadful. Bovo or Gray, who has the highest ceiling. I think Bergvall has, and I did say that before. I think listen, Glenn Hoddle's my hero. I know he's Ellie's hero as well. Hoddle turned around on TNT the other night and said, how good is Bergvall going to be at 23, 24? So there's your answer. There you go. We lost to Zagreb.
I respect Glenn Hoddle's opinion, but the reason why we're saying that because we've done jack shit this season. That's the problem.
Do you know, Alex?
I can't do this anymore because the thing is though, this is the same guy that keeps on playing bloody Brendan Johnson that was a replacement for bloody Harry Kane. He was right because we all knew he was going right, and he keeps on playing him on bloody in the wing when he know he. Oh, sorry for swear. Beep, right? That he knows that he should be up front. It's
Alex,
so
that's
annoying.
how YouTube works. If you swear and then say beep after it, YouTube completely forget that you've sworn. Just so you know, that's how it works.
Alex, I genuinely think that we're going to look back in the summer and think, do you know what? It was like Ange with this system came down from outer space. We've had 2 years of this nonsense. And now it's gone. It's just a small part of our history that we'll look back and we'll think, Jesus Christ, that was shit. Sorry, Pete.
It's all right. You can swear like that. It's the danger. Most of the time, it's how it's used.
Yeah.
Anyway, you're right, Luba. I think you're absolutely right. Like, if you and I were to have a conversation about, do you remember? I can't even remember his name. This is how bad it is. Do you remember Santini? Do you remember? God, do you remember the Gross era? And we all go, oh God, that was bad. Yeah. This will be for me what I'm like 10 years down the line when I don't have kids, but if my nephews or my friends' kids say to me, Uncle Savva, what was Ange Postecoglou? I'm like, oh guys, don't. It was just dread. Do you know what I mean? Like that's how I see it. I see it that. This has got to be, though, the greatest opportunity of winning a European trophy ever. For me, I think the standard is, I'll be honest, listen, I'm not comparing them to Spurs. I just mean the standard in general. I think it's always going to get worse and worse the more teams that you pump into the Champions League, guys. Because if you've got, was it the other day we worked out it was 108? No, what was it? 36, 30, 60, 90... 96, 100, 108 teams play in Europe, right?
Sure.
If you've got 108 teams playing in Europe, yes, Chelsea should go and smash the life out of the Conference League, right? If, they will, and they will, by the way. I can't see any way in which Chelsea do not win this Europa League. We should be competing. I'm not saying we should smash it. We should be competing in the Europa League. When you look at the list of teams we've played, the best team I would say we've played, is Roma.
Yeah.
No,
they sacked their manager. They sacked their manager before.
I think Frankfurt's the best, personally. I honestly think that
Frankfurt pre-Marmouche were a lot different to they are now. They've got injuries. But for me, in terms of when I actually look at the caliber of players 1 to 11, Roma, for me, are a better team than Frankfurt. Give or take, whatever, right?
They played some good football at our place, didn't they?
I love their striker. Really well. I love their striker. Nketiah.
Oh, we're talking Frankfurt now.
Frankfurt.
Yeah, Frankfurt. Yeah, Nketiah. Yeah, Nketiah.
And it's a young team. And it's a young their team was younger than ours across the average, but they did have a few players missing. Like that wasn't their number one goalkeeper. They had a few players missing throughout, a couple at the back, a couple up top. But look, I think Frankfurt are good. They're a good team. You know me, guys. I don't go overboard about anybody, right? They're a good team. But equally, I do think it is a team that we should be saying, if you want to win a European second-rate competition, shouldn't really be going out to this team. But we've, as Lubo said, we've been knocked out by clubs like Mura before. You know, I mean, under Jose, we were knocked out to, who was it that had their manager in prison?
Zagreb.
You know, so you never know with Spurs. But, guys, I've never known a season before where so much hinges on one 90 minutes of football. And what I mean by that is, guys, win on Thursday and yes, you can say, all right, it's been really, really shit, but we are now 2 games away from winning a European competition, 3 games away. Lose, and we're sitting there going, we've had a really crap FA Cup run, right? A really crap European Cup run. We're 14th, 15th, 16th, whatever we will be at the end of this weekend in the Premier League. And we've had a decent League Cup run. And that's the difference, Lubo, between 90 minutes of football. That's the difference between a 2-1 win and a 2-1 defeat on Thursday night. I've never known a season that rested so much on something like this.
The shame is that we're going into this game and the season's just been so poor, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
So you think, you know, and Frankfurt are not great. You know, if we had Poch's team today, we'd have hit them for 5 on Thursday night.
I'm fed up with talking about
Poch's team, I would have said to you on day 1 of the Europa League,
would have won it.
We're winning this tournament.
Yeah.
Right?
I've got nothing. I love Poch, but I'm just fed up with talking about our Poch team now. It's nothing against
Alex,
it. The only reason why I say is that we just live in the past so much with this now, and it's just got to a point where it's just like, can we just do some new memories now? It's just a team.
Yeah, but Alex, I think
I know. I get his point. I know. I get his point.
We've not created new memories. This is the point.
That's the point.
If we went into first of all, this Poch team wouldn't be in the Europa League.
Exactly,
right, would it? Let's be fair. This Poch team would be in the Champions League.
By the way, that's not dissing you, Ian. I'm not having a go at you. You get my point. It's just
apologising to Ian. He's a
no,
big boy.
no. Because he makes a good point, but it's just I've got to that point now where I'm just like, can we just make some new memories now? Because it's got to that point now where it's like, come on now. It's like me saying about my ex-girlfriend or something like that. You know what I mean? It's like,
the point I was making basically is that Frankfurt are not that good.
No. They're a decent European team. They shouldn't put the fear of God up us. I love comments like this because, Angelo, you care because you have come in and typed this message and you've had to subscribe to type this message. So when you're saying, but who cares that you see it this way, Sav? You care because you've responded. You troll. You've responded. Angelo Tyro's always one of these. Always has a quick line, but can't actually, he's another one of them, can't actually explain to me why Ange is a good manager. Just likes to, I'm a good fan because I back the manager. Absolute twat in the chat. It's what we like, twats in the chats.
Archer. Yes, Archer. Yes, I am in a little bit of despair. Yeah, that's why I go to soccer events and actually go to gym and bench, bruv. Yeah, I do. Because I'm not getting any joy watching this rubbish anymore now. You know what I mean? So, like, I need to see it, bruv. You know what I mean? I'm 37 years old, going on 38, bruv. You know what I mean? I'm not a kid. So, like, you know what I mean? I don't need to... what do you want me to say, bruv? There's a guy in the chat. Big up to him, but what do you want me to say? You know what I mean? Sorry, Pasaba, back to you, bruv.
No, you're right. Ed, Roma are one of the most informed teams in world football in the last 3 months. So when you're saying not a better team, they've been absolutely brilliant since Claudio Ranieri took them over. You've got to remember when we played them, I think, was it his 3rd game, his 2nd game, something like that? I think he'd just taken over Roma. Again, people who don't watch other leagues. Look, Frankfurt, obviously, most of their danger came from Ekatike. didn't it? It did. It came from the big guy up front, who again I thought showed really good hold-up play, really good touch. Very unorthodox player for me. Really tall and gangly, but he had the intelligence. He realised, didn't he? If he pulls left each time, if he pulls left of the Spurs defence, he's going to get joy. My worry is second leg, guys. He's going to pull left again, isn't he?
See
Let's
the
be
way
fair,
that
Lubo.
how Nketiah played. See how Nketiah played today on Thursday, yeah, and
Yeah.
you compare him to bloody Solanke.
Oh yeah.
You get what I'm saying? It's like this is where someone's got coached, right? Saying, why do you do this right now? You know what I mean? Thinking, you know what I mean? But you
He's
see
their,
with
he's their
Solanke, you
best,
don't do that, bruv. You
he
don't
was
do that.
he was their best forward. I know that. I think they were missing one of their strikers. I think one of their forwards, should I say, came on with a couple of minutes to go.
Young Wahi. He's very good, but just coming back from injury.
Yeah,
Wahi.
and the other one was out injured. So for me, if you've got one danger man who's playing on the left hand side, who'd you put there to mark him? Your best defender, your best fullback.
Don't.
And Spence would have shown him outside. Porro allowed him to come inside for the goal. And that decision by Postecoglou, another disaster class by this manager, that has cost us a 1-0 result on Thursday.
I bet he plays against Wolves. Of
course he will.
Meaningless game. You know what I mean?
Listen, look, guys. That decision, when I read the team, I wasn't shocked because it's Ange, but I was shocked because you think even Ange can't be this silly. Surely your best defensive fullback plays against their, as Lubo said, their best attacking outlet. And again, that's what their manager did versus what our manager did. Their manager realised, hang on, let's put our best player on their weakest position. And it worked. And listen, yes, they didn't get shots on target in the second half, but in the second half, how many times after that 15-minute spell where we looked like we'd score, how many times then they started to break again? And every time, where was it? Down the left, everything. These clubs aren't naive, Lubo. They know what to do. They know it. They'll be working on it all week.
I think we were lucky Mickey was playing on Thursday.
Oh,
he got back on a few occasions, didn't he?
Yeah, but he ended up getting injured towards the end.
Yeah, because it was funny. They broke a few times, and on one or two occasions they would cut back inside and give us a chance to get back and reorganise is the word. But there were one or two occasions that Mickey got back with his pure pace, forced to go out, and without him we could have lost that.
I know I keep on calling Bentancur the Juventus reject, but I do feel sorry for him when he's got two fullbacks inverting, going inside and going way up the pitch, right? And then you've got Maddison doing whatever he's doing, and then you've just got two defenders. You've got Romero's just wandering, doing whatever he wants to do, and then Van der Ven's the only defender really, right? That has to run back to do that. So then he's trying to put out fires, and I don't think that's his game. That's not his game at all. You know what I mean? So it's just like Angelo, grow up, bruv. You know what I mean?
He's so pathetic. Do you know what though? This is what you get from all these Ange twats, right? That can't seem to have a conversation. They just call you a mole, right? They just come in and say things. Angelo, let me ask you. Let's see if you can come up with an adult response. Angelo, tell me why I'm wrong about Ange Postecoglou. Tell me, Angelo, why am I wrong about Ange Postecoglou? Because you are from the school of Hotspur hippie. You all say it. They're not real fans. You're not real fans. Them idiots. But none of you actually have the conversation. You actually ever want to come on camera right now, Angelo? Talk to me. Tell me in a polite, calm manner, why am I wrong about Ange? Why have I misread how good this manager is? Why are his tactics good? The problem is you can't. What it's easier for you to do is have a stupid name. I fail to believe that is your name. That you have a stupid name. You don't even have a picture, and then you just say stupid shit. And then you want to come on and have a go at people like me that have the balls to put my face to a camera. Lubo, Alex, and I are putting our face and our words on camera. You say things in the chat, but there's no. Have you noticed? All of these Ange channels, they don't talk football. Everyone tunes in to watch people like the Hotspur Hippie, right? But they don't talk football. They're not football channels. They sit there and bitch about everyone else. Look what we've discussed today. CEO, Paratici, right? We've talked about Ange's press conferences, Spurs' tactics, the Europa League. We talk about football. For some reason, you fans don't want to talk about football. Then have a go at football channels that do. Sorry, guys, I know I shouldn't respond to these trolls, but I find it mind-blowing how football channels on YouTube now are mocked for talking about football. It blows my mind.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you, Savva. But people in the chat, do not say Sim's name. Do not say Sim's name. He might be deluded, but he's still my deluded friend, bruv. You know what I mean? Because I like him. Yeah, I like him, bruv. I love Sim. I love Sim. Yeah. Don't. Let's not have a go at Sim and Ben. Sim and Ben, I love. They love Tottenham, and that's it. I don't want to hear no bitch about them. Sorry, they back me. They back me all day long. Right, so like, look, no, I'm not hearing it. He might be back in Ange Postecoglou, but he's given football reasons why, and he has explained. So I'm not having Sim's name being taken. Put in.
And Alex, that's all I ever asked for. That's all I ever asked for, right? Is have the conversation. Me and Sim have a laugh and a joke about the Ange and the Ange out thing, right? Have the conversation. I'll put this out there right now. If there's anyone in my chat that wants Ange in, feel free. Come on right now. Have the chat the way Lubo, Alex, and I are talking to each other. No one's having a go. We're disagreeing. We're agreeing, whatever it may be. But they never do. They never, ever do. All I hear from these people is debates. I don't want to debate anyone. But of course they don't want to debate anyone because there's no ammo, Lubo. Like, no one could come on right now and give ammo as to why Ange has done a good job at Tottenham over 2 years. There's no evidence. So...
Well, the results tell the story, don't they? You know, whatever...
Madness.
However, and I'm funny enough, and Angelo's accused me of having rose-tinted glasses. Listen, I love my team. I wake up every morning when there's a game and it's brilliant. It's match day. I've got a buzz. However bad this team are, it doesn't stop me travelling. And, you know, but at the end of the day, I see what I see. And I played football. I've never played in a back two in my life. I've played in a back three, but you know, with wing backs, never played in a back two. So for me, and I've been watching football, as Kudos said, a very long time. So and I've never ever seen these tactics. They're just listen. Full marks to him for trying to be innovative and for trying them. And there's nothing wrong with it. And he probably thought after 10 games, Jesus Christ, I'm going to have the same success here that I've had in the other 3 countries. But it hasn't worked out. And you know, sometimes you've got to look at it, a situation, and say, well, full marks to him, he's had a go, but it's not sustainable. So change.
What I will say, go on.
Sorry, it's just quickly. I have put the link in for young Matt, because we need to talk about your love for Solanke, which is embarrassing. But you can feel free to come on, Matty. Phil, I said, didn't I, earlier in the show, is this the day we get an opinion from you that makes sense? And unfortunately, you've just shown yourself up again. Yep, Dogi had a decent game going forward, but the problem is that the fullback's first job is to be defensively sound, right? And when you're saying you weren't surprised he didn't play Spence in the first leg, what? Like, what do you mean? Spence should have played both legs. It shouldn't be an either or, Lubo, should it? It shouldn't be.
Savva, send them a link because I think sometimes
he won't come on.
He will come on. I know Full Coys, yeah, and he will come. He'll come on. I understand, but I think let him come on to explain himself because I know Phil. He's all right. He's all right. He's
got the link.
He's get Phil. Come on. Phil, come on.
Can I be honest with you? Based on how Ange picks his team, Phil's right, but for the wrong reason. Postecoglou
I agree.
Has this thing of the 4 players and still can't accept because he would have to admit that he's been wrong about Spence. So he leaves him out in our biggest game.
Madness. But as fans, Lubo, I can't have any Spurs fan that turns around and goes, no, I understand not playing him. We've just said their best player and their best player, who we all knew before the game, which means Spurs' manager, scouts, whoever's going and watching these games must know, guys, the danger man is Ekatike. The danger man is this guy. He's their top goal scorer all season. Watch him. He drifts from the left. Most people would have gone, right, Jed, you're on him. You're quick, you're strong, and you're defensively good. Not Ange. Not Ange. Here's Matty K and his terrible, terrible Dominic Solanke opinions. But what a wonderful haircut you've got, Matty. I love your hair.
Big up, how are you?
We're good. We're good. How are you?
Yeah, good. Nice to meet Alex last week and Ian, always good. And nice to meet you, Savva, last week as well. A few bits here.
And you, my man, and you. You wanted to come on. Phil, just whenever, mate. Just whenever. It's what we do, right? Matty, what did you want to say, mate? The floor is yours.
About Solanke, so you know my thoughts from the chat. Yeah. I don't see how he's the same as Richarlison. For me, he's miles better than Richarlison. They're completely different players. Maybe stats in the Prem or Richarlison's side, but from what you see, you watch Richarlison at Tottenham and watch Solanke at Tottenham. Solanke's been awful. Like, he's not been good for us. But we've only seen him under Ange's system. I don't believe you can judge any player at Tottenham and that you've only seen under Ange, because his tactics, you can't judge a player. We don't play to his abilities. Watch him under a different manager. If we bring Thomas Frank or Iraola in next season and we watch Solanke and we play to his abilities, we might see a completely different player. You can't. I don't believe you can judge him with his full potential yet.
First question: what's his abilities we're not playing to?
Well, except maybe on Thursday, we have not been playing lots of balls in the box. We have not got only Porter, I think, in our team. Maybe Maddison can put a ball in. I mean, you look last season, I saw stats about only 6 Prem goals on his head. But you look, he's best on his head. In a championship, you look at his stats, they're best on his head.
Yeah, but not by a lot, Matty. Actually, no, they're not. In the 2 biggest goal-scoring seasons that Solanke had in the championship, 6 goals in those 2 seasons were headers as well. So this is the problem. I like it that you listen. I love it when someone's very passionate about the debate they're having. But the problem is everything you've said isn't really backed up by anything to go with it. So when we're saying balls into the box, well, Solanke's never been great at that in his career. He's not scored that many headers in his career, right? Second of all, we're saying the tactics. Do the tactics stop Solanke being able to control a ball, trap a ball, hold a ball up? They don't, right? When we're saying about getting balls into the box, look at the balls that came in. Stell made this point yesterday. Look how many balls came into the box on Thursday night, right? You had Bentancur, had one header which was quite poor at the keeper, one header that hit the bar, one header from, I want to say, Romero that hit the bar maybe, or somebody hit the bar. You had
Bentancur hit the bar.
Yeah, Bentancur hit the bar. There was another header that was quite good. Then there was the header at the end where Van de Ven nearly got on the end of it. So we've got 3 or 4 occasions where the ball has come in there. That's Dominic Solanke's duty for me to say, this is me. Move, like this is me, because Kane would have been on it. Yeah, Teddy Sheringham would have been on it. Soles Ferdinand would have been on it. Big Duncan Ferguson. Solanke at some point, Matty, the excuses have to stop for him and he's got to show why he's good. And the debate you and I were having in the chat the other night when you were going, why doesn't his championship stats count? It's not that they don't count, but if we're going to use every striker that's brilliant in the championship and benchmark that against top Premier League strikers, we're going to be debating some really average strikers that did very well in that league, can't make the step up.
Firstly, I don't think Solanke's good enough. I don't think we should have got him. It's way too much. 65 million is way too much for him. He's not the player we should have got. I would have much rather a Delap. So I'm not saying he's good enough for us, but I'm saying I think he's too overhated. And he's shown by a lot of our fans that he's a lot worse than he's doing, because he hasn't had chances. I don't believe he's had the amount of chances to get the goals, to get the assists. I don't believe he's had that.
But if I go back to the Fulham game, he had 2 excellent chances, which he fluffed. If we go back to the Southampton game last week, he had a couple of really good chances that he fluffed. I don't remember every. Huh?
So I've got to say that you've mentioned there were 3 because he was through against Southampton, wasn't he? He shot from the edge of the box, and the keeper tipped it round the post. And at Fulham, those 2 chances he had, if he'd have taken them, we could well have come away with 3 points. Apart from those, Solanke against Villa took that goal beautifully, didn't he? Was it the ball in from Maddison and he dinked the keeper?
Yeah.
And I do think he got injured. Since he's come back, he's not the same player at all.
I don't think he was good before he was injured, though. This is my problem.
Everything since he's come back, Sav, is bouncing off him. He can't. He's controlling a ball like centre forward.
The stats and data show that before he was injured, that it was something like 60% of the time the balls went into him, it bounced back or he lost possession. He's a very average footballer. I'm sorry, he's a very average striker. And the issue I have is when we're talking about, like, Matt, you're talking indefinites. Like you said, he's 5 times the player of Richarlison. Based on what?
From what I see.
What is this based on?
First of all, availability is the best ability. Richarlison's never available. So to say that Richarlison and Solanke are the same level, Solanke's playing, he's getting the goals. Richarlison's sitting on the bench, getting the wage he's getting. But what I want to say is, the last 5, 6, 7 years, we've downgraded on players. We've only downgraded on players. We went from Kane to Richarlison to Solanke. How can a club of our stature, like we're called a Big Six club?
That's another subject, isn't
it? Matty, that's a subject that you and I very much agree on. You're going to have no qualms from me to sit here and say, wow, we've gone from Modric to, I don't know, Bentancur and Basuma. You know, we've gone from Bale to,
Johnson.
Brennan Johnson. Yeah, I'm not going to debate you on that. But yes, Richarlison's always it. By the way, I don't want Richarlison at Tottenham Hotspur. That's not my debate. Right? I'm not going to die on a hill for Richarlison. I never wanted him either. But yes, he's injured, but we can't say Solanke's a better player because he's more available. You could say he's a more available player, but their actual stats in the Premier League era don't show that Solanke's better at anything. He's not better goals, not better assist rate, not better goal scoring with his head, not better at scoring with his feet. So what I'm trying to work out, what is he better at? That's what I'm asking.
What, Solanke and Richarlison? First of all, I think Solanke's pressing is so much better than Richarlison's. I haven't seen stats. From what you see on the pitch, Solanke's pressing beginning of the season looked a lot better.
I'll give you that, pressing.
But
Richarlison does work hard, by the way. Let's not, I remember the Liverpool game last year. He came on. By the way, Leeds United are 1-0 up in 4 minutes. Just to let you know, Leeds United are 1-0 up. I'll let you know the goal scorer in a minute. But, Richarlison, again, you would say that one of his greatest qualities, which isn't really a quality, so I'm contradicting myself, is his work rate and his shithousery, right? That's what Richarlison does. For me, I said at the time, if you are going to spend the bulk of let's be fair, the bulk of our transfer fees, right, and our only one senior pro went on this guy who isn't better than the guy he's replacing. That's a true worry for me, Matty. That's a real worry for me.
I feel like, first of all, you still want to see him under a different manager. Because I still don't think you can judge him. Because I just want to see him under a different manager. But about the one good season, so I don't understand where you're coming from. Because, yes, he's had one good season in the Prem. But I've got the numbers here. So 2021, he got 23 goals and assists. 22, he got 37 goals and assists.
In what league,
Championship.
Yeah. Dude,
then 23, he got 14. Then 24, he got 25. And this season, he's got 19 so far. So,
he's got 19 assists this season.
Yeah.
Sure. And how many of them are against absolute crap teams in crap competitions?
Doesn't make a difference.
It makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference.
How can you say he has only had one good season when he's not been in the Prem? He's only been in the Prem 2-3 seasons, but he has had good seasons in the Championship. So you should say he's had good seasons in the Championship.
This is not true, Matty. What you're saying now, no offense, mate, you're just making up things now. This is not true. Dominic Solanke has played multiple seasons in the Premier League, right? Dominic Solanke played in the Premier League for Liverpool, for Chelsea, and
he was
for
a teenager.
Bournemouth.
Chelsea was on loan. Liverpool was a teenager.
I don't care if he was a teenager. He's a Premier League footballer, right? At the end of the day, right, if you're going to bring stats to me of a Championship striker, does that mean that I can chuck in Jonathan Macken? Can I chuck in Timo Pukki? Right? So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Let me look at Timo Pukki, right? I'm going to show you why.
Sav,
hang on.
Interested to know who Solanke scored against this season.
Hang on. I know who he scored against. Man United, Villa.
Brentford, Chelsea,
right?
Liverpool.
Mate, when we're 5-1 down,
Newcastle.
Come on, listen. Look, let me show you, right? Let me show you this. So this is Timo Pukki. I'm going to show you this, right? This is Timo Pukki. Right? And I'm just using him as a striker in recent years, Matty. That he's brilliant. Huh?
As they stood. Palace are up as they stood.
What?
Palace are up.
Yeah, Palace are winning 1-0. Yeah. I was going. He's going to be. Is he onside? Oof. Yeah, I think he's onside there. Yeah, he's onside in the second one. Yeah, I think he's going to be given. Yeah, so Palace look like they're 1-0 up. But if you can you see the screen, right? If you look at Timo Pukki, look at his 2 seasons in the Championship, right? Look at his 2 seasons in the Championship, sandwiched with the Premier League Championship season, right? 30 goals in all competitions in 18-19, 26 in all competitions 2021, comes up to the Premier League, 11 in all competitions. The gulf in class is huge. The gulf in class. I could do this all day with a number of different players, Matty. At the end of the day, right, when you're saying I can't judge him under this manager, I've seen this man. He's been a professional footballer for about 8 or 9 seasons. This isn't a new player we've bought that we've never seen before. I just think you're contradicting yourself. You go, oh, the fall from grace from this player to that player, but then you want to praise really average footballers.
It's not I want to praise. I want to say that we're acting like he's one of the worst strikers we've ever had. I don't think that is. I don't think that's the case.
He is poor. He is very poor. Look at his goal rate. He's got 7 Premier League goals. Even Richarlison got more than that last year and hardly played.
Johnson's got more goals than him.
Yeah, do you know? So we don't create, but Brennan Johnson can score.
Yeah, but in Ange's system, Johnson is the best player because Johnson is where you want to be. Well, he's played shit and he's anonymous in most games, but he's getting the goals, and that's better than not getting the goals.
I just don't get it, right? I just don't get what you're watching in Dominic Solanke that you say this is going to be a top goal scorer. He's never been a top goal scorer.
I didn't say that.
So what will he do better under a different manager?
Get more goals. That doesn't mean he's a top goal scorer. It doesn't mean he's the right striker for our club. But I think he'll play a lot better than he's playing right now.
I think the system, Sam, I think the system does suit Johnson more than Solanke, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely.
The way we play.
Hang on. But the system doesn't mean that Solanke can't trap a football. The system doesn't mean
I'm talking about the goals, not the system, the way we play.
I'm going to say it. We have what we deserve. Look what we're arguing. What we are arguing. We are arguing for a guy who's had one good year at the top level in his career. We're now arguing but look at what he's done in the Championship. Go and look at any stats and data this year from his hold-up play. It's not good, even before he was injured. It's not good statistically. I don't know what people are watching.
We should get 30 million for him and spend that money on Delap, because we're not. That's the sort of level.
Delap's a lot more than 30 million.
Well,
I
he's got a
don't.
release clause, hasn't he? 30 million.
Listen. I can see why people are saying that at the moment, but I think it's very dangerous to just get a striker and think, oh, they're going to do really well at the moment. I think the lap needs a lot of work still. You know what I mean? He needs a lot of work still for me to learn. You know,
And
and
you look at
and
young strikers at our club as well.
pardon.
We have a lot of young strikers at our club as well that we haven't seen. Like we have
Well,
Scarlett,
well,
Villiers.
Yeah, but that's because they're not good enough, are they?
yeah,
Let's be brutally honest here. I mean, I'll be brutally honest. Lancashire can't get a game at West Brom, right? If that
that's not
doesn't
good.
tell you he's not good enough, Scarlett's been on loan. Hang on, City are in here. City are in. Great save, Henderson. Followed up. Great block. Sorry, great block. But Matty, with all due respect, Scarlett is not good enough, right? Scarlett, there's nothing about him that stands out. Lancashire is not good enough. The same way Troy Parrott wasn't good enough. These, just because they're young doesn't mean they've got to play.
Yeah, I wasn't saying they're good enough. I was saying we shouldn't buy more strikers until we get rid of them. So I think we should get rid of Villiers and Scarlett. I think we should keep Lancashire on loan again. I think we should get rid of Villiers and Scarlett because we shouldn't be signing more strikers. Like same with other positions. We have too many players on loan, I think.
I think we need a new striker. I definitely
Yeah.
think. And we need a new manager. We need a new striker.
I completely agree with this.
And,
I completely agree with you on this.
And Delap is ahead of Scarlett, Lancashire.
Oh,
He needs a lot of work. I still think he needs a little bit of work.
Lubo, he's not. He's levels ahead of them, isn't he?
Yeah.
But he still needs a little bit of work though, because listen,
he's 22. He's had 1 year, but you know he's coming at 22 in a team that's going to go down, team that's struggling, doesn't create too much, and he scored 12 goals in the Premier League. I mean, that's a start.
It's a good
effort this year from Delap.
It's a start. It's a start.
So why can't Solanke? If Delap can get 12 goals for a team that don't ever win football matches and are in the bottom three and relegated, where's the excuse for Dominic Solanke?
Yeah, I agree. I'm just saying at the moment. Yeah, I think it's a good option. There's excuse. Yeah, there's no excuses for Solanke. To answer your question, Savva, I just think at the moment that I think we have to be very, very careful here with Delap, saying, yeah, he's done well, but you got to do better now. You know what I mean? You need to develop. I think there's too many strikers out there that do a level, right? That might be just his level at Ipswich. You know what I mean? But he's got to go now to the next level now. You see what I'm saying? He's going to have to start.
He's been training. He came through the Man City Academy. You know, we were talking about the academy.
I know that. Yeah.
You know, all the players that have come through under Pep, and he's one of them.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that he's. Listen, I don't think. I think it'll be a smart signing, but he needs to improve. That's where we need a coach to improve him, so he can get to that next level.
This year would have done him a world of good, right? You know, he's battling in a team that aren't doing well. 12 goals for a guy that plays for a team in the bottom three that have won. Hang on, let me double check this.
3
have won. They've won 4 games all season, right? And they've only scored 31 goals. So he's got over a third of their goals.
40%, isn't he? Yeah.
No,
everyone on this panel take him over Solanke? There's the question. Would you take him over Solanke?
Yeah, I would.
Definitely.
I would
Danny,
take him.
would you take him over Solanke? Matty?
Who?
Delap.
Yes,
Liam Delap. Right. So then doesn't this show your argument then that a Liam Delap who's got 12 Premier League goals in his career and had 1 year in the Premier League, we're all saying we would want over a 27-year-old Dominic Solanke? Let that sink in for your argument as to how bad Solanke is, that we want a kid who's got 12 Premier League goals in his career.
The problem you've got is if we don't get Champions League football, the players that we should be going for, like Vlahovic at Juventus, are not going to come to Spurs.
I don't think
they won't come anywhere because of our wages. They won't come anywhere.
We're not going to get those players in, no, Lubo. We're not going to get
we
those
get
players.
Liam Delap.
Delap we should get. No.
Yeah. No, I'm not disagreeing with you on that one. I don't think I've given up on that saying that we're going to get top players at the club, even if we get Champions League.
We would not get Vlahovic in a million years. The fella is on it like something like a 300 grand a week contract.
Who's that?
Vlahovic.
Oh,
It ain't.
let's have a look. Juventus wages.
Savva,
That's why I'm agreeing with you. That's why I'm agreeing with you, Dan.
Cheers, Matty. Thanks for coming on, Matty.
Thank you very much. Big up, everyone.
See it. But that Vlahovic is the sort of level that we should be having, that should be playing at Spurs.
Yeah, but
Do you
Luba,
really
it's never
think
going to happen.
that
It's like me saying that
he
I'm going to
is
be rich.
the level we should have at Spurs? Should and can are two different things. The way we are at the moment, the club we are at the moment, the way we are in the league at the moment.
That's a different story.
Where we are with a manager, where's the could and should in it?
He's on 150 a week, 150,000 euros.
I thought he was
a
on
week.
significantly more.
So
fair enough. 150,000
euros in pounds.
It's about 120.
About
100 as of right now, according to Google, he's on 130,000 pounds.
Well, this is the problem is though, right? If we go for him, right, other teams are going to go for him, offering bigger wages. So this is the thing. We're not going to do that. You see what I'm saying? So this is the thing. I listen.
But this is why you buy these players, Alex. Last summer, when you've just qualified for Europe and you finished fifth, that's when you buy a Vlahovic, not a Solanke.
You maybe get a Vlahovic when he's not very well known, right? When he's on low wages at a different club, or in Eastern Europe or whatever he was, right, before. And you get him in before everyone knows about him, and then you get him in, then you coach him to become that player that is, higher ceiling. You see what I'm saying? That's what Tottenham should be doing, like a Brighton at the moment. You see what I'm saying? Because that's what the club we are. That's what I've accepted now. This is the sort of club we are at the moment,
On the realistic side, we should actually just be looking at players we can get. And I'm not going to bring up the debate on it. Not going for kids. We should be looking for players for that first team. And there's a couple of strikers out there who I do believe we can get. And that's two of the top strikers or two of the top scorers in Serie A. What's his name? Retegui? I can't pronounce his bloody name.
Retegui.
I think we could go for him at Atalanta because Atalanta are better. They got Champions League and that. But one thing the club as a whole has not got is money. And they still need to sell a player here and there. I think he'd be one that we could sensibly go for and have a chance. Or the other one, that Moise Kean at, where's he at? Is it
I wouldn't want Moise Kean in any way, shape or form.
I think he's better than what we got.
Well, I've seen him play for 2 or 3 different clubs now where I've not really been impressed with him at all. But
I've seen him play at Fiorentina and he's had quite a solid season so far.
Well, let's have a look at these guys and let's see let's Retegui of Atalanta. See, for me, if I'm not wrong, these stats might show me differently. This is a guy who's only ever had one good season, right? Again, if I look at Retegui, before this season, he got 7 last year. He's got 25 in all competitions this year. Before that, he was in the Argentinian league. I don't know.
It's just trying to be realistic.
No, I get it. I'm just looking at Moise Kean.
Vlahovic.
What about Jonathan David?
Well, that's the one that's... Moise Kean. Moise Kean's got 22 this year. Before that, you have to go back to 2020 where he scored over 10 goals in a season.
Paris Saint-Germain, I'm just looking at the stats here now. Paris Saint-Germain got 13. I'm not saying they're great strikers, whatever, but you're the first one to say, along with me and others.
Well, Chris Wood wasn't a great striker.
Palace are 2-0 up.
Palace
are 2-0 up at City.
They're flying.
To get a half-decent coach, you could possibly improve those strikers. I'm just starting to look at it on more the point of what we can actually get now that we are 14th. I've been the first one to say on here many a time, throw the money on the table. I don't really care where you are. You can get a player you want. But we are now 14th. But we are now 14th. We are not 5th. We are not 6th. We are not 7th. We are 14th.
Just looking at the comments, Victor Boniface, not a bad shout.
Yeah, but Boniface again. Why would you leave Bayer Leverkusen, who are Champions League? They won the league last year. Why playing for Xavi Alonso again? This is where we're at. If you're going to pick these players up, you've got to pick them up when you're going in the Champions League. And every time we've got in the Champions League, we've never gone for players like this. I'd take Boniface.
The money, does he?
By the way, Palace, who are 2-0 up at Man City, are now currently 9 points clear of Tottenham, and Palace are in 10th. So we're now 9 points off the top half again as it stands. And don't forget, this is Palace's game in hand, by the way. So this isn't even with us having a game in hand.
Wednesday's their game in hand. Palace.
Today
we'll play tomorrow. They're playing Wednesday at St James's Park.
Semantics. As what I'm looking at the Premier League table as it stands, we've all played 31 games.
Yeah,
and they're 9 points clear of us if they win this game. 9 points clear. Give me Glasner all day, every day, any day, any day. What?
I don't think
go
on. Go on.
Most set piece goals this season. Crystal Palace 15. Best away defence in the league. Crystal Palace. What a manager.
I don't think it really matters about how he plays now. I think it's just about how he coaches the players. You know what I mean? I think it's just how he coaches the players, and he's getting the best out of the players that he's got at the moment, and he's churning them out really well at the moment. You know, and I think it's just with the signings that he's put in and implemented. He lost a few. You know, he lost Lise in the summer. I think he lost Anderson as well, so they had to acclimatise to a new team. You know, new players in the team, and look at the result. You know, he had a really bad run at the beginning of the season, but you know he's learned, he's grown the team, and now they're flourishing. They're absolutely flourishing at the moment. You know,
Wolves lost their best players. They struggled at the start. Palace lost their best players. They lost Elise and Anderson. They struggled at the start. They also had injuries. Unfortunately for us, Eze and Walton came back into the team when we went down there. And you know what? He was building it and training them. And, you know, you can see starting with us, you know, for me, that result, you know, you look at it, it's not like Ipswich and Leicester results for me. Losing at Palace. We always have a difficult time at Palace.
It was only because they hadn't won a game all season, and it was Spursy.
But I don't think that represents the way they were playing, sir.
But also, Lubo, talking about De Bruyne has just hit the post, by the way. Talking about the players they lost, don't forget they also lost Chalobah in January because Chelsea called him back, and he was part of their back three.
Yeah.
So whatever's been thrown at Glasner, he deals with.
Yeah,
he deals with. I think he's a magnificent football coach.
I think it's too late to get him though, Savva. I think it's too late to get him.
Why?
The reason why I say that, well, listen, I hopefully I may be wrong, but I'm just saying at the moment because everyone knows about him now. But I think the time when we should have got him was when he was available before Frankfurt.
Everyone knew about him before, Alex. It's only the people in the Premier League who don't watch any football that didn't know.
I'm just saying. But
so
I'm not saying that, but I think people would have not taken a chance in him because I think was he available? Was he available then when we got in Postecoglou? Was he there?
Wrong about Epau? Yes, I mean he's just won you 4 Premier League titles on the bounce. What are you talking about, Alf? What are you? Oh my God.
I do think with Glasner, you look at the other top clubs here. Maresca, Amorim, not going anywhere. Just joined. Slots had a fantastic season. Pep going nowhere, signed contract. Eddie Howe, who are the other biggies? Who have I missed? Arteta going nowhere. So we've got a chance of getting Glasner.
Was he available when was he available when we got Ange?
Yes. Must have
Why
been.
did we not go from then?
He joined Palace. Yeah. He joined Palace after Ange.
I'll tell you why, Alex, because Munn came in and Munn brought Ange in.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why. And when you bring people like Scott Munn in, this is the damage that you do to the club.
But
instead of having a proper person there.
Lubo, have you seen Crystal Palace, right, are 6 points off the Champions League.
Yeah.
Crystal Palace. So they're sitting in 10th. This is why when people say to me, we don't have a good squad and couldn't be, Crystal Palace are 10th in the Premier League table, right? 4 or 5 games ago, we were well above them, right? And they are now 3 points off Europe and 6 points off Champions League football.
They're
that justifies the whole season, doesn't
2
it?
points off Europe, because 8th place should get you a Conference League place, because you've got 5 in the Champions League next season. So 8th place will get you a Conference League spot. Where Fulham are at the moment.
In the league, the only 2 teams in the league with a better defence are Liverpool and Arsenal. What a manager he is.
I mean, manager-wise, I think there's a couple of managers we can go out at the teams that are doing better than us and get. We do have attraction at Spurs. At the moment, very little. But a manager can actually make a career and go up a step at Spurs. As all he's got to do is make them look half decent and get in the top 4 or getting even top 5 or 6 at the moment. Let's say top 6. And people will look and say, he's done a good job. The other pulling thing we do have at Spurs, I know we don't spend the money, but we've still got significantly more money and a significantly larger club than Crystal Palace, Bournemouth,
3-0.
or Brighton, or Fulham.
Offside, 3-0.
End of the season, we might as well wait now for Ange. It's done and dusted now. He's going to be there for that next round of the Cup. For me, done and dusted. Stay till the end of the season. Get rid of him. But also, start making your plans now. Because we're not going to get in a manager now. Why the hell would Glasner or Iriola or who's the Fulham one?
Silva. If you believe the reports, Dan,
how are we going to get any of those 3 now? What is the point? So what you go and do is what it looks like we're doing with Glasner, what it's been said, whether it is or isn't is a different story, is you start looking at the player now, manager now. You start talking to him now through his agents, whatever, to hopefully have something ready for the second that we go into next season, basically, or before the season starts as such. At the moment, it's pretty much all irrelevant because we ain't getting nobody unless we chuck Ange out and get a little part-time coaching, who about the only one out there would be free to do it would be bloody Gareth Southgate. And so I think the way the season's gone now and the way it is, I can speak for myself here. I'll accept defeat. Can we win that Europa? Yes, anything is possible. Will we? I very much doubt it. But I still think we have enough pulling power at this club for the size of the club it actually is.
I agree.
To bring in managers like Glasner, Iriola, because we would probably pay double to treble their wages. And like I'm the first one to say, money bloody talks. And would they be a manager that thinks, well, hang on a minute, I've done it at Bournemouth or I've done it at Palace. If I'm going to put this man-for-man down team of what it should be, that is a better team that I think I can do something with. And I'll have more money to spend, because we will have more money to spend than Bournemouth, Palace and Fulham. Yeah, I'm going to give it a go and try and prove I can do it at Spurs. Yeah, it might be the worst mistake he ever makes in his life. But also, we do have that pulling power to attract managers like that. The next manager, I say, has got the next easiest job to what Ange ever had. And that was kicking the ball bloody forward. You all know my opinion on that one. But this one, we are that low now, a lot of us fans, in what we even think of the club or what we want on the football, that a high majority of us would just quite happily accept and say thank you, God, for a bang average manager who hasn't proved nothing, could get better, who just knows how to play bloody football and knows that you have to defend and attack in a game. And then you will have a majority of a fan base sit there and say, thank you, God, we'll see what you do over the next year or so. Dan, I think he's got the next easiest job to what bloody Ange had. We are at that point where everyone was screaming, I don't like this defending, I don't like this, we're playing this and that. Yes, we're in 4th place. And he left in 4th place, but I get it, Conte didn't want to be there. And now all of a sudden, the main thing a lot of people are complaining about, if Spurs fans are complaining, is that we don't defend.
Yeah, but I think the thing is, I don't think it should be a complaint either way. We're a professional football team. We should be doing both. It shouldn't be all out defence or all out attack. This should be a team that is well versed. And like when I watch Palace are absolutely devastating on the transition. Let's be fair. Man City have had all of this game, right? But Crystal Palace are deadly on the transitions. They've got they're solid at the back, and what they've got is when they get the ball to those three forwards, the likes of Eze, Mateta and Sarr, they're not wasteful with the ball. When we get the ball forward to our three forwards, 2-1, free kick from Kevin De Bruyne. When we get the ball to Son and Johnson, there's no end product. You watching this game, whenever they've got the ball, Eze and Sarr, they keep hold of it. They bring others into the game. They're looking to go forward. Brennan Johnson doesn't know how to do that. Now, again, we can have the argument all day long about where should he be playing and all of this. But for me, I think you should be able to do both. And I agree with you, Dan. Yes, things don't look good at the moment. But I'm sorry, if we go to Crystal Palace and if we go to Glasner and say, hey, here's 10 million a year. We want you at Spurs. Yeah, you're going to have a bigger transfer budget than you're going to have. We're going to give you Paratici as the director of football. I'm sorry. Glasner could come in, right? I'm going to make a statement. Glasner could come in and without even making a signing, would have this team back in Europe. Because straight away, what would Glasner do? He'd have Porro or Spence here, Dogie or Spence there as wing-backs. He would have, as it stands, Romero, Danso, Van de Ven as a back three, which he would make really hard. Hang on, they're going to equalise here. No, they're not. Which would make it really hard to beat. He'll then have Bergvall.
Gray to 6.
He'll have Gray and Bergvall in the middle. How sick. Oh, McAtee's just missed a sitter from 3 yards. He'd have, let's say, I don't care, Bergvall and one other in central midfield, the way that he plays Wharton and Lerma. Yeah. Right? And then what he'd do, he would have the likes of a Mikey Moore, the likes of Kulu, the likes of Maddison in that front three. Yeah. And they would just be devastating. So without a signing, I reckon Glasner gets us in Europe. With signings, I reckon he can challenge for a Champions League place because he's a coach. He's a manager. You know,
I agree, and that is what we need. What we need in the way we play is a bit of stability. Now, everyone's got their own way of playing football. Everyone's got the way they play it. If I was a manager, I'd probably come across very pragmatic because I'm a firm believer that your game starts from the back, the defence. That is probably one of the most important bits. But it's just having that bit of stability. I don't mind if our next manager is more attacking. I don't mind if he's more defensive than attacking as such. Because most managers, they're either a bit more attacking or a bit more defending as such. I just want a manager that shows he can adapt to a game, knows what to do in the middle of the game, can actually sit there and actually, I mean, does Ange even watch TV before a game? I very much like of the other teams because he don't change his flipping way, does he? So he might as well not even bloody watch them and sit there and watch.
We never adapt to the opposition, Dan, do we? We never adapt to the opposition.
No. So for all I know, he's sitting there watching Suits or Game of Thrones, yeah. And with that, we might as well be in it. And so with that, we just need a manager who I would be that little bit more defensive than attacking.
2-2. I take it all back. Sack Glasner. Don't want him. Are you watching this game, guys?
No.
Man City are just chance after chance after chance. They've just pulled it back in the space of about 5 minutes. Dan, you're right. Yeah. We need a manager that says, right, we've got Liverpool this week. Where are Liverpool strong? Well, we know they're going to get...
Now they've scored the goal. Sorry to interrupt you. Now they've scored the goal. You watching what Pep's doing? He's on the side. Come on, boys. Let's do it. Come on. We can do this.
Yeah. It might be offside.
Stands there and nods.
It might be offside. You know how VAR gets involved in everything. He might be. But look, I want a manager that when we're going to Anfield or when Liverpool are coming to... Huh?
I think he's off.
I think he might be slightly off as well.
Yeah.
Do you see what Pep just did? Pep's just done that to his phone. Love it. He might be off. I want a manager that, whether Liverpool are coming to us, whether we're going to Liverpool, is going to turn around and say, what's the biggest threat? It's been given. Mo Salah is the biggest threat. I know what I'm going to do. I am going to tweak so that we are covered on that side. It might be that I put, just spitballing, guys. It might be that I put Papa Sarr just to the left of the midfield with Jed Spence and say, right, you two, double up on him, right? I don't know. I'm just spitballing, right? What this manager does is goes, right, Ekatike, the best player at Frankfurt. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to put our strongest fullback on the bench instead of having him deal with him. That's not right to me. That's not management, right? Now, I'm not saying every manager gets every decision right. Look at Pep, for example. He got it wrong in the Champions League final when they lost to Chelsea. But the problem is, this is every week with Ange. This is every week. And if I'm not wrong, the two biggest games we've had now in the last month, there's been Man City at home, Spence dropped. Frankfurt at home, Spence dropped. And you're going, what? What are you doing, mate?
He's going with his preferred. He still hasn't learned. It's still his preferred back four with Poron Udogie.
Yes.
And he's just intransigent. You know, Spence had Salah in his pocket when we played Liverpool. You know, they did nothing. You know, I look at that first leg semi-final, first leg of the semi-final of the League Cup. Salah did nothing. Spence was all over him.
Yeah,
and you just look at that. It was superb, that minute.
I can understand that every manager has their set way as such of how they prefer to play football, yeah? But when you're a good manager, or not even a good manager, because these days, what do you actually call a good manager? When people say a good manager, they think of Pep, they think of Klopp, they think of this, they think of that. No, someone who's just a good standard manager, coach, because we don't really have managers much anymore. It is about coaches more these days, who just has a clue to do and can also, if needs be, do what Arteta has proved he can do to actually be a more than respectable manager. He just can't pull it over the edge. To me, he's on the same level as what Poch was, even though a lot of people ain't going to like that comment, because he's gone and done with them exactly what Poch done with us.
Yeah, that's
Who can adapt in a certain game. Like, okay, you might usually play four at the back, 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1. Give me whatever bloody formation you want. Right, I'm now playing Liverpool. Perfect example. It's the one I always give. I'm playing five at the back. I know it's how I would play anyway, but I'm adapting, looking at how Liverpool play. I'm playing five at the back. I'm having my wing back. You stick with Salah, come love nor money. I don't really even care about you going forward, mate. You stick with that geezer and you do not lose him. And then I'm having my left defensive central cutting across and helping him, while I'll have the other two cut into the middle and the other one come back if needs be. Because whether you like it or not, you cannot go to Liverpool 9 times out of 10 and go gung-ho football, out-and-out attack and destroy them. You can't do it. So you've got to work out how to do it in a different way. And a team like Liverpool, if you're going to get them, it's going to be a majority of the time that I've seen them lose on a counter-attack game. So, right, adjust your system. You can't just go and stick Ben Davies or whatever out on the bloody left and say, take care of Salah. But Ange does.
Dan, do you know the thing as well with some of these, as you said, the good managers? We're not talking about elite managers, just good, solid managers.
No.
When do you ever see Glasner, Iriola, Silva, Frank? When do you ever see them mocked? When do you ever see them arsey in press conferences? When do you ever see them causing such stir? Like Ange, for me, just constantly, when he's saying, oh, the media are against me, mate, you give them ammo. He gives them ammo. Every single time he opens his mouth, you're thinking, you're going to say something that they're going to latch onto. Watch Glasner. Even if they do today. Cool, calm, professional. Just what I want.
You see with them three managers, I think each three of them, personal opinion, know that they are not world-class managers, yeah? I think each three of them, they know their limits. They know what they are good at. They know what they are not good at. they will also know the team inside out. I'm not saying they can't take it to another level, but they know what and who they are. So they play to their strengths, like a player should, like you should play a player to his strength, because not every player can play in bloody 5 positions. And all 3 of them that you've said there, every time you see him on a press, you see him on a pitch, yes, a bit louder on the side of the pitch than Ange, that's what we want. But each and every one of them in an interview, cool, calm, and calculated. They know who they are, they know what they are. They don't go to a bloody game again like, okay, we've done Man City, but Liverpool, Arsenal, a top team in Europe. I'm just mentioning names here, yeah, and say, right, we're going to go for it today, and we're going to go and give them gung-ho attack and everything else. They know what their team is capable of, and they know what they are capable of. That, for me, is what makes them 3 good managers. Iriola's the one I don't know so much about, but that is what makes you good at something. Knowing what you're not good at and knowing what you are good at.
Yeah.
And people say, like, well, why would you say knowing what you're not good at? That's being negative. Right. The way I look on it is the way Alex Ferguson wrote his book. I don't really care what my team's doing right because they're doing it right. Why mess about with something that's going right? I focus on the other side, what's going wrong, so I can fix it, so we're even better. And if you don't look on the negative side, if that's what people call it, or the side where it's not working, that's just like going and getting like £1,000 council tax bill that you just come out of nowhere and saying, oh, do you know what? I can't quite pay that now. Just sticking it under the pillar and waiting for 6 months. And then you got a £3,000 bill on you. No, you got to pick up the negative sides of life to fix them, to make life better, i.e. in football as well.
Let me ask. Yeah, I completely agree, Lubo. Let me ask you. I'm only going to go for another 10 minutes, by the way. But let me ask you, Lubo. Do you believe if we went to Bournemouth, Fulham, Palace, Brentford, and we tried to take one of these managers, do you? I know a few months back you said you don't believe they would come, but do you not think they would? Especially if you got a new CEO coming in, possibly Paratici coming in. Do you not think we're a bigger attraction than those clubs?
I think the problem has always been that the ambition isn't there from the people at the top. And when you see people like Kane leaving, and if Romero leaves this summer because he's ambitious, people in football, they know what's what. Levy wouldn't pay Finu 17 million compensation for slotting his team. Is he going to pay Palace 20 million for Glasner? It's ridiculous. He'll pay 57 million for Solanke, 48 for Richarlison. He paid 54 for Ndombele, and he wouldn't pay 17 for Slot. Yeah. It's mind blowing, to be honest. And
I get it.
So maybe with the new CEO who has 14 years of experience at Arsenal, maybe he will just put him on the right track, hopefully, if he listens to him. And then it's a different ball game. If you bring Paratici in, if the new CEO turns around and says, Daniel, you've got to have a little bit of a go here, otherwise it's just not going to happen. He'll go through the figures. He'll see that our best ever year, we made the biggest net profit in the club's history. How Levy can't see that, I don't know. So for me, although he's coming for me for financial reasons, hopefully he'll give Levy a little bit of he'll teach Levy, he'll educate him.
Yeah.
Do you think that this might sound like a bit of a strange comment in that aspect, but do you think that with not a half decent manager who, with everything we've gone through, I'm not going to go through it again, but with everything we've stated previously in the past 15 minutes, and say gets 70 million to spend, which really isn't a lot in a top club, but with 70 million, you use your brain, you can get yourself 2 good players who can get into that first team. Do you not think that this club, this set of players, is not capable? I mean, forget the league. That's just not even in the question. But do you honestly think that this set of players, bar 1 or 2 and get some right players in there for that position, I think 2 players, just call it 2 for 70 million, random, could win a League Cup or an FA Cup?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So if the manager comes in and could win a League Cup and an FA Cup, and he thinks he's got the capability of doing it with this team and one or two players he brings in, he's a success.
Dan,
I don't
Palace,
think the
Villa,
job's as dead as they say.
I agree.
We just
agree.
keep looking
Palace,
at
Villa, and Forest are all in the semi-finals of the FA Cup,
Yeah.
so why not? Right? And
We
again,
all just look at winning a league, don't we? A lot of people just talk about, oh, but you can't win a league. We're Spurs. We ain't going to win the bloody league.
I'll ask this. When you look at Palace, for example, just because we're talking about them, right? How much they pay for Lacroix? How much they pay for Wharton? How much did they pay for Munoz? How much did they pay for Sarr? I reckon they probably got those for all under 70 million, right?
No,
and this
I think 2020. The Saar was Saar 30. I think Saar was more, wasn't it? I think.
Either way, he's saying between 70
Either way,
and
it's
under
not a
100
lot.
million.
It's not a lot.
You're talking south of 100 million for those four players.
Right, we're talking south of 100 million pounds, right? So if we look at them,
And Gray and
then you look at-
Solanke cost 100 million. Sorry, Sam.
And no, but that's the point. This is the point. How have a club like Palace gone out and gone Lacroix? Oh, look at him. What was he? 13 million, 12 million euros, something ridiculous.
Something like that,
Like, yeah. How have Nottingham Forest? Obviously, Dan, I know we talked about him a lot, but how have Nottingham Forest gone out and gone Milenkovic, 12 million? Like, this is the thing. We talk about. You don't need to spend 300 million to be in and around 4th, 5th, or 6th. You don't. Yeah, you need to go and spend massive money if you want to win the title, but good player identity. And unfortunately, you know, we've heard Ange before talk about how he really wanted Johnson, how he really wanted Solanke. These are his players. This is his identity. Whether you like Maddison or not, I think he's brilliant. But whether people like Maddison or not, another one that Ange has said, I wanted him. Cool. You got these players you wanted, mate. There can't be any excuses. In this team at the moment, you've got your number one choices. You've got Van der Ven, who you wanted, right? You've got Bergval, who you bought. You've got Johnson, who you wanted. You've got Solanke, who you wanted. There's no excuses. These are your players. Go and make it work. When Maddison is not good enough for what? What's he not good enough for? He was good enough when helping Leicester win an FA Cup. What's he not good enough? This is what I mean. What's he not good enough for?
I think
That's the,
with
what's
Maddison,
he not good enough for, Maximus? And by the way, I just saw this comment quickly. Paul, I hate it when people say stuff like this, right? The adverts that come up pay YouTubers, right? We don't do this for free. The adverts pay YouTubers, right? It's 3 seconds, or do what most of us do. Get a YouTube Premier account, which is like eight, 9 quid a month. And I don't watch any adverts. But mate, this is how YouTubers and content creators, how do you think we get paid? Like,
look, if you want to hint people, just use a bloody VPN and say you are somewhere in South America and it'll cost you $3.
Yeah.
3 quid.
Yeah.
That's what I do anyway.
I am going to leave it there for sort of you guys and then go and get some sunshine on this Saturday. Lubo, thanks for joining. Really appreciate it. Dan, thank you for joining. Big up to Anthony Clark who put in a super sticker. Guys, we'll be back tomorrow for the live watch-along of Tottenham v Wolves. I'm guessing it's another game that's not on the telly box, isn't it? So it's another streamed job. And then we're back tomorrow night for the Spurs review at 7:30. And then I'll be back Monday night on Big Up, by the way, for who is it? Bournemouth Newcastle?
No, it's not Newcastle.
It's not Newcastle. Bournemouth. Someone. Chelsea. I don't know. Someone. Anyway, I'll be back on Monday night for that. You missed my rant on ads because of an ad. Listen, I get it, right? Listen, I do get it. I'm not having a pop at you, Paul Gregory, by the way, but I do think it's funny. Like, you know, it's how we get paid, right? And like I don't go to somebody else's job and complain that they get a salary. So it's getting a bit frustrating that people keep coming in and complaining that the ads that pay me pay me. Like
and
it's
we don't also pick when the ads come in and that. That's YouTube that does all of that. We don't pick the ads. If YouTube wants to put in an ad after 30 seconds, it will. It's not like we sit there and say, right, 2 minutes, 6 minutes, 12 minutes, we want the ads in. YouTube does it.
Paul, I empathise. I have it as well. Bournemouth are playing Fulham, by the way, on Monday.
Bournemouth are playing Fulham. Yeah, listen, look, all I'm saying is best thing I ever did, because I watch YouTube channels, best thing I ever did, a premium account, I think it's £9 a month. What's that, a pint and a half these days? Maybe not even a pint and a half. Do you know what I mean? Anyway,
and you can have 5 separate accounts on it as well, with, say, family member, this, that, and whatever else.
There you go. So, guys, thank you very much. By the way, it is half-time at the Etihad. It is 2-2. Man City have had some glorious chances to take this game 3 or 4-2, but at the moment they're not. And Leeds are winning 2-1, by the way. A goal for Manor Solomon and an assist for Manor Solomon. I'm going to say it. I wish we had Manor Solomon on one of our wings over Johnson and Son. On that note, take care, everybody. And as always, come on, you Spurs.